If you're missing that sink drain plug, just like I am, then this can happen, and you'll have to look at my other video about how to remove that. We're going to actually learn how to put this plug in to keep it from happening again next on My Younger Life. Here we have the standard sink drain, and we're going to glove up, people, because it is a nasty, gross mess when you're dealing with plumbing. We're going to start by removing the nuts on the plumbing, and you're going to turn that. Tried the wrong way the first time, but it shouldn't take much to get this loose. If you have metal drain pipes, you'll need a monkey wrench, but most modern homes have PVC pipe. So it shouldn't take too much trouble. Make sure you have a towel underneath this because you are going to get some water. The purpose of this trap is to hold water so that things that aren't supposed to go in your plumbing stay there. And make sure you dump this in a different sink. Don't ask me how I know why you should do that. But we're going to dump that and clean that trap up. And next, we're going to replace this toggle unit. I've decided to leave some of it. I don't need to replace all of it because it is in good condition. Make sure you note which hole the push rod is through for this toggle rod. Mine's through the second one from the bottom. So I'm going to remove that clamp. And now we just have to remove that toggle bolt. And here we go. Unscrew all these. Some of these have some silicone or other sealers, so you may have to break those loose from the top, but it shouldn't take too much effort, especially mine hasn't been removed in 27 years, I want to say, so it's got some nasty growtiness, but we're going to remove that, pull down your rubber washer or your gasket here and take that off so that we can push this up. If you have some silicone or something sealing the top, you may need a rubber mallet to hit the end of that, but mine's came loose really easily. And here's that grody nastiness. We're going to clean all that up. Clean your opening up really good. Get any old silicone or any rubber gasket that may be in there. Clean that up. And here's our replacement lift rod pop-up bathroom sink drain. This thing costs like 10 bucks, guys. That's about it. Has some great directions and your anatomy of your drain plug. These parts are plastic, nothing fancy, but they do the job. Here's our kit. And the first thing we're going to do is screw this washer all the way down because it needs to be down the depth of the thickness of your sink drain hole. And we're going to remove the top piece. So that has to go above the sink, inside the sink. So it has to be separate. And we're going to apply some silicone. Make sure you get silicone that is waterproof and rated for bathrooms and sinks. Make sure you get a decent bead. I like to cut mine at an angle, but don't get too much. You don't want it to squish out the sides on the inside of your drain. That's just more you have to clean up. So it should look something like this. We're going to put it in the top. I didn't show that, but no problem. Screw this in. Go as far as you can, and when it reaches the maximum, then you're going to turn the washer up and push that rubber gasket against the bottom side of your sink. I still have a little bit of ways to go before I need to screw that all the way up. You want to make sure that where the toggle goes points toward the back of the sink. It does take a little bit of a grip. You're pushing that rubber washer up against there, but this is plastic. So you don't need to get a wrench or get anything and do any hardcore torquing on it. You will break it. Let the rubber gasket do its work and just do hand tight. Now do it as strong as you can, hand tight, unless you are Arnold Schwarzenegger or the Hulk. You're probably not going to hurt it by doing as hard as you can. Remove the nut off the back. There is a rubber gasket in there, so don't lose it. Let's see, I have to retrieve mine, but there it is. Put it back in there, and we're going to take our toggle piece. It's the one with the ball on it. We're not going to use the other two parts right now. Remove the clamp that holds the push rod. And we're going to insert it in the back. It may take a little wiggling. Inside there is a hole that the drain plug comes down to, and that end of that toggle goes through that loop, and that's what works your drain up and down. You may have to like wiggle it around a little bit to get it through there, but once you do, it should be pretty easy to thread the plastic nut back on. Again, there is a rubber gasket inside, so you really shouldn't need to be superhuman in your torquing. Get that tight. Sorry, my hands are in the way, but it's hard to do left-handed. I'm right-handed, but we're going to get that hand tight. It's time to put the toggle. Remember, we looked earlier. Mine went through the second hole from the bottom, so I want to put this one the same, but make sure you put one end of the clamp on there first, and then you'll be able to put the rod through that hole. That way you don't have to worry about doing all the adjusting if you just pay attention to how the other one was. So you wrap the clamp around, put the rod through the back of the clamp, and you'll see I'm going to fiddle. I'm really trying to get it to stay out of the way of the camera. Could do this probably a lot quicker if I wasn't videoing, but that's not the case. It's not bad to work on that dexterity a little bit. But after a little bit of struggle, I do get it in place. There we go. See, holding that push rod on that toggle, and what will happen is when we pull up on it, it will close our drain by lifting the toggle. I'll test it out a little bit first before I declare it ready. All right, and here's what's happening. Push and pull. Down opens, pull closes. Pretty simple concept. Now we need to replace our drain trap. We're going to have to use parts from our old one. So we need to remove this washer or gasket. I guess it's a washer. And it is angled, so make sure you know which way it comes off and which way it goes in your plastic nut or your plastic ring. There you go. Just like that. And we'll put this back on there and replace the trap. These things don't fit the best in the world, but you just kind of have to keep wiggling it around. As you're screwing it down, you'll wiggle it a little bit. But don't tighten down one at a time. Get them threaded, screw them on a little bit at a time, wiggle it around so it seats a little better. Tighten the other one and go back and forth until it's all taut. I'm going to go back, give it another turn or two as hard as I can. Again, it's plastic. You don't need wrenches and you don't want to break it. But a good hard twist should seat those gaskets or those rubber washers in there. And there you have it. Nice and tight. And it looks like our sink is ready to hold water, and we've done it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you learned a lot. Until next time.